to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Foo.
To have your son like checking in after a week and like circling back. Oh, Dave got in touch with us. He's like, I ain't afraid of no public speaking. Which I guess I didn't mean to imply that that's why Dave. I knew that Dave was like, I'm not going to get up there and get something fucking wrong.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know. I wasn't at the table.
Of all of the people at the table, I assure you, Dave would be the most comfortable. Like, I'll get up here and give you a seminar on, snails' ball sacks, and be totally comfortable. You just give me the cards. I'll do it.
Yeah, he'll do it.
But to like get up in front of people and be like, our culinary fate is decided by whether or not I know the preferred shoe type of Nicole.
Yeah,
and he'd be like, why would I fucking? That's dumb.
Right.
I was just the gullible one.
He gives presentations to the entire company, so and that's just one of probably.
It's funny you would mention that because we talked about. I don't remember how it circled back at the table. I think Nat had said something, and it basically amounted to his bringing to the table like the State of the Union for the company.
Oh yeah,
and I wait that wasn't a thing. He's like, no, that was not a thing before.
Yeah,
I'm like, as someone that's not there, I said I have heard through the grapevine of multiple people that it's nice to hear from someone who you may not have 2 or 3 degrees of connectivity to speak to things that concern you as an employee. Like,
you're just like a cog in a wheel.
Right.
And you come to work every day and you don't really know the state.
Here's the status of the machine. I thought you should know. Yeah. Like these, our success or my success is your success. And this is where your small piece of the cog helps the machine. And this is how we're doing.
Right.
You always hope that the end result is good news. But to be treated like an adult, like we're all fucking adults.
Right.
Child labor went out. It's only good in China. To be that candorous with your employee base is refreshing because it's so much bullshit.
Was curious to know what if it was something that he started doing because it was something that he would have liked to have had.
Ooh, interesting.
Or if it's just like
right.
I always wanted, like maybe John said, like I always wanted to do this, but I never got around to it, or
right.
It just never happened, or
I wasn't really comfortable doing this, and I didn't know how. So something you may want to try, or if it was just like,
or maybe Dave just thought this would be cool to be able to do this and let people know what's going on,
right?
But also he came in at really trying time as far as the business climate for the company. Like he came in and COVID hit, so shit went sideways from day one for him.
Yeah.
So I think that probably was a part of the decision to do that.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear because everyone, I'm sure there's people in the company. Like I don't see what goes out the door every day. We have a shipping department there that ships product every single day. And I don't know how many things go out the door every day and what products are hitting the out the door. But I would assume those are the people that have their finger on the pulse as far as, we're slow, or we're this, or we're that.
Right.
Or we're super busy. We're selling a lot of those, or whatever it is. So to have somebody who's willing to tell you, here's my finger on the pulse from the top, like this is what's happening. It's kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
And to get them kind of like every 6 months or so, once or twice, a couple times a year.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool. I really enjoy that.
Hey, welcome to Sad Dads Club podcast, episode
312.
312.
Yeah.
Are we at our 6 year, 7 year? Yeah. It's October 1st, so we have to be close-ish.
We're somewhere in there, yeah. I'll check later.
Wow.
I don't know.
God, what was it? Oh, okay. So we have talked, certainly last couple. Well, I mean, COVID, really.
Yeah.
Car prices, which are also predicated on the current loan rates and all that shit.
Sure.
Something that as we're supposedly on the tail end of supply and demand problem that had got us to the price points of cars, certainly new cars and used cars, due to COVID and parts supply shortages and getting them here. Everything went high.
Sure.
Then
because the problem was supply and demand was high and supply was low on a lot of that stuff.
Right. And then you would think, though,
which means those things are going to get expensive.
Right. So then you've got this common man perplexity in, well, how is this supply and demand thing not working for me, when you realize if everyone's locked at home for the big chunk of COVID, well, then no one's really driving. So why is demand actually right? There should be, because no one's really right. So anyway, despite the common man's want and desire,
right,
car prices went through the roof.
Right.
And now, as we come out through the tail end loosely, car prices have not gone back to...
Yeah, they haven't reset or anything.
Right. And you would think, oh, well, at some point things are going to start walking. Now, you have working against that inflation and the United States' current, policies on bank rates and all that other shit.
And tariffs.
Yeah. Right. Well,
there are tariffs.
Right.
But yes.
So things haven't, what happened now if there's tons of supply, well, how come there's not the
price haven't come down? It's like gas prices.
Right.
Gas prices go up super fast.
And
then they take their time coming back down.
Oh, how convenient for me.
Yeah. Let's parachute that
I was
down.
irritated about something. Yeah, I think it was the Fed had just lowered the rate. I think it was half a percentage point.
Uh-huh.
And so then the news articles start hitting my feed relative to like, well, here's how this plays out for home loan rates, refinancing stuff, and like when those rates show up for people looking to do those things.
I have a theory.
But it also was that auto manufacturers were already starting like slightly earlier to lower their interest rates on auto loans, but they were also starting to they're starting to have to pump out incentives, because while the Fed was waiting so long to do rates, the supply on lots was actually...
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Part of that due to, now the auto manufacturers have all the parts that they want, so they start ramping back up production, only to then realize...
We're not selling any.
Hey, man, when it's $75,000 for a minivan...
Or for a Corolla.
Yeah, we got problem. Like, no one's... Right?
Right.
At some point, whatever the COVID stimulus is, or whatever things, the economy in general, prosperity has not met the same price escalation as cars or homes.
I have a theory on it. You want to know what that is?
Go.
I really think that we're in a situation where we're starting to run across states like California and whoever else that are saying you got to have X% of electric vehicles by this time, and no gas vehicles after whatever year, right? So there is a hard deadline for development of new platforms that are battery-powered systems. And what my theory on it is that the manufacturers, they don't like redesigning vehicles because it costs them a shitload of money. So they're outputting a whole lot of money to design an electric vehicle chassis and whatever else, and all the electronics and whatever things that you have to have in order for an electric vehicle to do the things.
Right.
And that is a huge upfront cost for any manufacturer.
Sure.
And so what's happening, I think, is that they're using the opportunity to have an increased price on their gas vehicles to fund
the R&D for the hybrid EV platforms.
For the EV stuff. That is my theory. And I think that as long as we are in a situation where they're having to develop new platforms specifically for EV vehicles, those costs on gas vehicles are still going to stay high because they need the funding out of those cars to fund that development.
I could see that. I would say I don't have the numbers to identify the increase in MSRP from a manufacturer versus is that the same rate as dealerships tacking onto the MSRP?
That's just being greedy.
Right. So if Toyota is selling a Corolla in 2020 for $20,000, but now it's and that's Toyota's MSRP, $20,000.
Right.
And now they're selling a Corolla at $25,000 MSRP in 2024. But the dealership has gone from a 5 tack on to a 10 tack on. Well, now it's like the dealership's doubled what the manufacturer has. So who's really fucking me here?
Well, I think that's an interesting question because we just also said in this conversation that maybe it just depends on the manufacturer and the vehicle. There are some cars that have a sellout rate on however many cars they have out at the dealers that is in the hundreds and hundreds of days, like 700 days or something.
Yeah.
Like they'll have X number of vehicles out, which means at the rate that they're selling that car right now, it will take them 650 days, for instance, to sell all of those vehicles out. That is 2 years, right?
Right.
So we have a situation where maybe it's just some cars are sitting on the lot. Rams, Jeeps, Gladiators. Maybe specific vehicles because they are priced the way they are and they don't have a good reputation for quality. Whereas like on the Toyota side, it's a Corolla is known to be a good quality small vehicle that is desirable, right?
Right.
So maybe we have a disparity in supply and demand depending on what manufacturer and vehicle it actually is. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess I would now be curious to know is the percentage rate of increase in MSRP at or below or outpacing the increase in a dealership's tack on of the MSRP?
See, I think when I look at new vehicle prices, if I go to a website for a dealer and I look at car prices and it says dealer add-on, I just leave that website. I would not do business with a company that does that.
Well, see, that's just it.
Because it's just being greedy.
I don't think there is you
can find them if you look hard enough, but you might have to
I think it's few and far between.
Yes.
I think if we went back probably, I want to try to paint COVID as being the big bad here, but I want to say even Grimlock had a pinch above MSRP, but my Eclipse and the Dodge did not. I paid what the sticker paid. There was no fucking dealer thing. So it I think it just got easy to like but it didn't
maybe
have.
That's the reason why they're not selling cars.
I think that's a huge chunk of it.
Like,
and
you go to the dealer and expect to see what the manufacturer sells a car at.
Yeah.
Say they price it at $25,000. You're like, oh, that's a car I can afford. And you go to the dealer to find that $25,000 car has a markup on it of $7,000 or $8,000 or more. Who knows?
Right.
And suddenly now it's no longer part of your budget.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
so the dealer is hurting the manufacturer by putting a shitload of markup on it.
I agree 100%. Yes.
And it shouldn't be allowed by the manufacturer for the dealer to gouge the customer like that.
And I think that's where some of the incentive stuff. I know I've seen a couple TikTok YouTuber guys, basically Toyota, Ford, I think Nissan's in that group, where the manufacturer is starting to really get irritated with the dealerships. Like, I just watched a thing for the Ranger Raptor, and it was this is a really the new 2023 Ranger platform and the Raptor are amazingly polished. It's a
mid-size pickup.
Yes, it is a good truck.
Yeah.
It is priced at it's ridiculous. I think it's like 56 to 58,000.
Yeah, that's bonkers.
And that's for a mid-size truck.
Right.
That's ridiculous on its own.
Sure.
But relative to its nearest, like closest like-to-like competitor, the new Tacoma Trailhunter.
Uh-huh.
The Trailhunter is like 65, 66. It's ludicrous. Like, why? And a lot of that price thing is like the car tuber guy that I was watching was, you won't be able to get this at its actual Ford intended affordable price because dealers are putting that $56,000 Ranger Raptor up at 65, 66 because some fucking idiot is going to pay that.
That's the problem.
And there's enough fucking idiots that are ruining it for the rest of the people. Like, I would get into that new platform if it was actually in my budget, which brings me to my thing. One, the economy is taking a shit. The rates are ridiculously high. We have reached, relative to the news thing that I read, a point where auto manufacturers are like, the consumer's ability to afford these things for infinity has reached a point where now people are like, I can't. Repos are up. Trade-ins. Fuck it. I can't. And this whole thing got triggered when I was on my walk to the store. Would be probably 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
I get past. I've made jokes about it. But not only motorcycles, but kids and young adults on the e-bikes and the e-scooters.
Yeah, that are like $2,000.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Some of those scooters are $1,000.
Yeah.
Some of those bikes are probably pushing 15 to 2.
Yeah.
But if in our area where we're starting to see a commercialization 2-3 blocks down the road, I've got stuff over here. The new West Park area is starting to have all kinds of little stores and little community like boutique marketplaces.
Yeah.
And then you've got up at Blue Oaks is doing the same thing. This concept where I need to have a car, we've missed the part where California, I'm speaking specifically for California, or the United States in general, has a decent mass transit system. We're skipping over that part to where if I can get 15 to 25 miles on my E thing, well, fuck it. I don't need a car. And now it's like, well, bye. And it's not like, I'm going to walk to work. I'll walk to work. Or I'll take a bus. Well, fuck that. You used to be able to get a reasonably sized gas widget, car, a fucking Fiesta, or tiny little fucking. I'm thinking of like the hatchback Corolla, a Sentra, Nissan Sentra.
Yeah.
Tiny guy, under 10. Now that's
when in the late 80s. My first car was a brand new Hyundai Excel.
Yeah, they are those ones.
$6,000.
Right. So. What I'm starting to see is that these huge car price points are now not only being gutted by an economy that's struggling and the American consumer that's got $2,000 to $3,000 monthly mortgage payments or rent payments, and exorbitant car insurance prices. A $2,000 e-bike isn't ideal. But that's what I can afford, and it gets me there.
Yeah.
Whereas, well, fuck it, I'm never going to buy a bike because I'm not going to pedal 7 miles to work. I'm an American, and I eat fucking 4,000 calories a day. I'm not in shape for that. I should be, but I'm not.
Yeah.
But now you get on a fucking e-bike, and if you're a dishwasher, if you're a hostess at a restaurant, if you're simply a barber, esthetician, or not esthetician, a cosmetologist, something minimum wage. I'm now going to consider skipping the whole concept of needing a car. I can get there on my scooter. I can get there on my e-bike.
And you walk to your local grocery store like on the daily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm starting to see the increase in not only motorcycles, but that was kind of like, that's one thing. But it really this has gotten popular fast. I see kids walking to school with it, kids going to school. I see kids and young adults going to the store. I see adults my age going to the store or going to Mahaney. If you are starting to car manufacturers, you are going to really start losing your market.
Yep.
Because I can buy a $1,500 25-mile range e-bike with a little basket on it.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
Well, because as Americans in general, we're getting squeezed from the mortgages and the car payments just to be able to do what your parents did fairly easily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's bonkers. I'm not saying that nobody in our parents' generation struggled, because it's not the case.
Yeah. Sure.
But it definitely, I will say, in America, sort of the measure of achievement was like, you've done better than your parents.
Yeah.
Like we're no longer there. Like, some people are not doing better than their parents. Like a vast majority of people, I would say, are not doing better than their parents did.
Yeah. When I had 2 weeks ago or so, I nibbled at my dad about, it was kind of the same thing we talked about last week with Dave and Bert. Hashtag hey Bert. Yeah. Just data tell hashtag hey Bert.
I was going to say, I'm a little disappointed that in the brief meeting that I had with him, that he did not tell me his entire history in the moment.
Oh, yeah.
So that I would know this.
Yeah, fucking. And the whole thing was when I got introduced to him, and Venus goes, this is Bert. And I went, whoa, wait, she must have fucked up. Dave? And he's like, oh, pleasure to meet you. I hear so much about you.
I know,
and I went, it's fucking Dave. Who's Bert? Who the fuck is Bert?
Is Ernie here?
Yeah. Hey, Bert. What's it? Oh, I had asked my dad, we talked about retirement. And forgive me if I've already said this last week. I walked away from like a conversation I had with him like 3 weeks back about retirement, and I went, you know what? I was telling Venus, I said, I didn't ask him how he knew. I essentially at Chandler's and Nicole's wedding, I had effectively asked both the table a question I had asked my dad.
Yeah.
And when I asked my dad 2 weeks back, I said, "How did you know?" And when he started going over his benefits that he knew he had in the bank, because at that time the state he was grandfathered into the policy. Probably, I don't know if AJA does this, but Wells Fargo, because California was if you've earned PTO or sick time, it rolls over. Like you don't lose it, it rolls over.
That's how AJA is.
So at some point, Wells, my current employer, caught on. Like the loophole there is you can't earn more PTO until you use like to a cap that you're like, you can have a running tally of 300 hours, but you don't earn the next year's until your cap is 300.
Yeah, that's how it is for us.
Right. But it used to be, I don't remember when the law changed, but it used to be
use it or lose it.
For us, it was like rolling. So I had hundreds of hours of PT, because I would commute. I did nothing, and then I came home. I just worked hard. I didn't take vacations.
Yeah.
I was an idiot. And if you're listening, kids, you should use your PTO because you've earned it, and you need to take breaks. But I didn't. So it was like, at some point, I had...
Did they have a cash out ability?
Right, because when the law passed, it was, you can only earn this, so here's a payout of what you have earned. And I was like, oh shit, this is fucking what?
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
So my dad had worked out the math that he had sick time and some pay increase things that had gone this way, and he's like, but the most important thing was that I had paid off the house. And I went, oh fucking well, yeah, that's a big one. I'm like, well, how much was the mortgage? And he goes,
$600.
$55,000.
Oh shit!
And I went, what?
Yeah.
And he went, yeah, I had paid off the mortgage a couple of years.
1,000 years ago.
Yeah, well, a couple of years before I had decided, but somewhere around 56, 57, I had the house paid off.
Yeah.
And I went,
holy shit!
$55,000. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, fucking hell.
Now, we have talked about, I don't know if we've ever talked about this on the show, but I'm not at that level. But we paid, so in 1996 when we bought our house, brand new, $126,000.
Ours was 200, and we're almost back after the refinance. I think we've refinanced two times, and then we did the home loan for the addition.
Yeah,
we are within 2,000 to 3,000 of our original mortgage in 2001-ish or so.
Yeah, and
then in the conversation with my dad, Venus is like logging into the Wells Fargo account. She's like, "Will be paid off in like 2035 or something like that." And I went, was kind of hoping for like next year, maybe.
Yeah.
But man, could you imagine just?
Well, my neighbors across the street. I don't think you met them at the wedding. They paid their house off.
Did they?
A couple years ago.
Are they retired?
Yeah. Well, she just retired like 2 or 3 months ago.
Good for her.
And left today for Italy for 3 weeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, flying first class.
Wow, as you do.
So, but their house has been paid off. They're all, aren't you about paid off? Because they moved in after us, and we're like, no, we refied a couple times.
You see these? I got kids. No. Short answer, no.
Yeah. So, no more refinancing for us for sure. We won't.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah. It
No.
didn't.
We'll just do it like I won't refinance. I'll just get a
Venus
second
had a co-worker who was, I think she had said that they had in a nice to-do area, like on the grid somewhere, in like a condo, so like townhouse style is what I believe she described it as.
Uh-huh.
And they sold it, or they were renting at the time, and they've been renting and now living in a house, renting a place out of Rockland, I think she had said. And they just bought a brand new house, $800K.
Wow.
And he is, I think she said 56, 57. Like, you're never going to see the end of that.
No. No, yeah.
You will never see the end of that mortgage.
No. And what I would be worried about at buying an $800,000 new home is kind of it feels like the economy is, and you get upside down in your house real easy at $800,000. That's my thought.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh sure.
I mean,
like,
our
could you
equity,
imagine? I don't know what the fucking mortgage payment on that is.
Yeah.
$3,200
or $3,500 or who knows, $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 800,000.
Like, what
it
do
could
you?
be $5,000.
I mean, even if they actually owned whatever there was on the grid, like, let's say they sold it for $300.
Yeah,
that's still a $500,000.
Sure, but my house is valued at $529 or something now.
Sure,
according to Zillow.
Hey,
so I mean,
you're $500,000, baby.
I mean, that's bonkers for my little tiny house.
You could sell it and then buy a quarter-acre tent.
I know.
Right?
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. Like, we could sell it and buy something else, but we would have to pay extra.
I absolutely loathe at this point, like, even considering starting that 30-year clock back over again.
Yeah.
Or even if,
we're
already at break even for me. I would have to.
It would have to be a 15-year.
Yeah. But
even then.
Like, I'm already right there.
But your payment wouldn't be the same. It would still be more.
Yeah.
Because you're upgrading regardless.
Yeah, I don't want.
I don't either.
Yeah, I just.
And the other part of it is that I really get mad about it when I think about it is there's no incentive to solarize your house now. Like, you used to be able to sell your electricity that you're generating back.
Oh yeah, there's that.
That's all gone now.
Yeah.
So if you're going to utilize electricity from a solar panel now, you have to have a battery system.
Oh yeah.
Which costs you way more to put a battery system in along with your solar panels and the management software, hardware, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So there's no incentive to really spend way more money to get solar panels.
Yeah. And I don't know the break.
I dislike that.
Yeah.
I dislike it greatly.
It would work. Well, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work for my dad was hot on that because he could put in a good chunk of panels, and he was like, fucking nope. And he's like, I'm one guy. I turn on this one laptop, and I watch TV every once in a while.
But now he's not selling it back to PG&E anymore.
Yeah, so he would be literally putting in a small field of panels and be selling 99.999% of it back because he uses a pittance. Right. And he's like, I'm in bed by 8. Fucking, I don't turn on any lights.
But not anymore.
Right. So he's like, well, the only benefit he would get would be when fucking a tree falls over on a power line and
he would have power.
Or PG&E is like, there's a heavy fart coming, so we're going to cut off your power.
Right.
Because we haven't fucking buried the lines. Also, tell you what, we're going to raise your rates again because Joe's CEO needs a bonus.
Yeah, and
we're gonna
a new yacht.
And a new yacht. And you know what? We're going to bury those lines. But I'll tell you what, we're going to raise the rates. You're going to bury the lines? We're going to think about it.
Yeah.
But you know what? The CTO, he needs a rate or a bonus.
I
and a
saw
yacht.
a local news thing. They were talking about how PG&E is spending a shitload of money on advertisements that they run on TV, talking about how they're burying lines and all this stuff. And this lady was like, yeah, they came to my neighborhood and they started burying lines, and they buried about a quarter of a mile. And the rest is all still on poles, and it makes no fucking difference. She's like, why haven't they finished? Where are they? They buried a quarter mile down here, but they didn't come up here and finish. So everyone still has poles and trees that hang over the fucking lines. And it was like kind of telling. That's what PG&E does. Yeah, we're burying lines. We gotta shoot a commercial, you guys. So we're gonna bury a quarter mile here.
Yeah, shoot the commercial.
Shoot the commercial, and we're out.
Is it safe to bury here? Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. Well, our production costs for the commercial are essentially a camera guy and an iPhone and burying a quarter mile of lines so that we can get it on
Get him
film.
one of those fancy gimbals to put his iPhone in. Like the handheld ones? No, put the chest one on there for the iPhone. It's a fucking, he needs a chest gimbal for the iPhone.
Yeah, but then they're going to raise your rates too.
Right. And then it turns out it's October, so guess what? We're going to raise your rates.
The sun came out yesterday, so guess what?
Tomorrow will be October 2nd. It will be a Wednesday. Guess what? Going to raise your rates. Hashtag get fucked PG&E. My dad comes down and says, "Did you see the news? PG&E's raising our rates." He says that enough that I'm not entirely sure
if he's talking about the same
if he's right.
And wait, is this the same story you told me last week, or is this a new thing?
And PG&E is run so fucking terribly that I don't know 100% if he's just going senile or if it's actually the truth that they're just every time you know what?
The gnat farted.
Yeah. Shit. You know what? Oh, goddamn, I spilled my coffee cup. Raise the rates.
Someone's going to pay for that cleaning the carpet.
You know what? I hit my snooze button this morning and I missed it. So I got up and I started walking over to the pisser and I stubbed my toe. I need you to send out a mail. We're raising the rates. But
that's what it seems like.
But sir, we raised the rates yesterday because you had a hangnail. Yeah, this is bullshit.
And I need a new yacht.
Goddamn. You have a haircut appointment at noon, sir. Well, I'm hungry. Raise the fucking rates.
Daddy's got to eat.
Daddy's got to eat. What's for lunch? Roast beef. Well, fucking I wanted tuna. Raise the rates.
Anything, man.
God damn it.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're like the most expensive electrical provider in the state, I'm pretty sure.
But my dad was...
Them and
Smud?
Smud.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky here.
My dad was hot on it when there were rebates and there was the ability to sell back. My dad is certainly not interested and wasn't, even when he was considering it, the whole Powerwall battery backup.
Well, because what is that? A fucking $8,000 or $10,000 battery system? Management hardware?
Yeah, I think for something legit, you're up there.
Because the idea of it is that you use the solar panels to charge the battery in the day, and then the battery is used in the evening.
Right.
So you use less power in the evening, or if the power goes out, you have... just forget to buy a Ford F-150 Lightning.
Yeah. You could power your own home.
Yeah.
So it was going to be something that was like, well, I can make money, and when fucking some squirrel decides to arc itself across the power lines and or some asshole arson decides to park his car in a ravine and light half the northern part of the state on fire and the power goes out, he would be like, well, I'm homesteading. I'm good. Like that's, his perspective. Like the winters are miss enough that
even if he's in that situation, if he doesn't have a power wall, he's fucked in the night. He won't have power still. If he doesn't have batteries.
Yeah, he'd go to bed.
I know, but my point is like you're still only getting power in the daytime, maybe enough to run the air and whatnot,
Which is,
that's fine.
Yeah.
But like in the evening, you're still the same as your fellow down the road who doesn't have solar, unless you have a fucking power wall.
Right. But he wouldn't care about the night anyway. He's like, old soul farmer shit. Like the sun went down. I don't need power. I'm going to bed.
Everything's candlelight in the house anyway.
Fucking party's over.
Get the kerosene lantern.
But when it's sunny, I need to be able to run the water pump. I need to
Oh, yeah.
make a coffee and fucking the stove or whatever. Or he doesn't have air.
Oh, no air up there.
But watch fucking Yellowstone.
No air. That sounds terrible.
But now he's just kind of like put off about the whole concept. He's
Yeah.
like, well, never mind. Good
Yeah.
job.
Because your $20,000 solar panel system is now $30,000.
Well, and then you've got like you've talked about. You've got people like Mike and Angie who have the panels and were investing in the battery backup.
Yeah.
At a point when they could sell back power.
Yeah.
If it ran surplus. And then that went all the way to the dodo. So in a household that could afford a battery wall system and panels, and we're like, when I'm done, you pay me and we're good to go. And then that goes away. Their household is 100%, well, I've already put out this money and my home is self-sustaining, and you're not going to pay me for the surplus at the full rate anymore. Well, then you get nothing.
Yeah, and
I will not give you any of my power.
The bummer of that is that their electrical usage will go up because they don't have a battery yet.
Who?
Do they have a battery?
Yeah, they have
one now. Okay,
so they're
for the most part self-sustaining.
Yeah, they're self-sustaining. Whereas they could have, brownout days or high power days.
Yeah.
They could have sold power back and been like, check me out. We're benevolent, helping out the commoners who,
right.
need power. But you're going to pay me, and but here's my power that I've set. Now it's like, fuck you.
Well, because
you're not going to pay me the rate that you're charging me. Well, fuck off.
Think about the guy that has just solar panels, like the same neighborhood, the house across next door they all have solar panels.
Yeah.
Right. So the guy next door that doesn't have a battery system, so his power bill just went up.
Effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not generating in the evening. So you are having to pull off the grid to use your power.
Yeah.
And you're not getting buyback anymore. So you're not offsetting that tomorrow.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucked.
And it only perpetuates the exact scenario that Mike and Angie's household is in. If you're someone that can afford the battery wall, and you're cognizant that you're no longer getting the kick down that can help offset your energy rates, well then I'm going to buy the wall and I'm going to tell you to fuck off because I'm keeping that power for me.
Nothing for free.
Yeah, no. You guys were doing this. Now, and everybody was happy.
That's the thing. Not everybody was happy. And I'm going to play the devil's advocate.
Fuck you. I'm going to raise the rates.
No, because here's the thing, right? The power companies, they have to maintain the grid. They have to install the new shit. All that costs money and manpower and materials and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
So when they have to pay people for their electricity, when they used to get money out of that house that they have installed electrical lines throughout the neighborhood and have to maintain all this stuff, that costs them a bunch of money that now they don't have income for. That I understand that.
Sure.
It's not great.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand from an electrical supplier standpoint that would be a tough cookie to eat. Right?
Sure.
Because the infrastructure stuff is expensive. right? The upfront cost to put a neighborhood in and plumb everything with electric lines and maintain it over time.
Mm-hmm.
Someone fucking runs into a box and it explodes or whatever. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Any of that stuff. Well, all that's very expensive stuff. But now a neighborhood where all the houses have solar panels and everyone's selling electrical back. So they're shelling out cash for all of this infrastructure and maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
And then also shelling out cash for a purchase of electricity.
Yeah.
Now the amount of money they have for infrastructure and maintenance has somehow dwindled. So, I mean, I can see both sides of it.
Yes. I mean, I certainly wouldn't offhandedly say that there isn't support and ongoing costs to put in new infrastructure, support the infrastructure that you have, and.
Well, but you got like a shitload of brand new homes that all have solar panels that are selling it back to the grid, where the amount of money that they would have taken in just to sell those houses power in general,
right,
is vastly diminished by 95%.
But if there's certainly a window in time where that power company was having to purchase power from a hydroelectric dam or something like that, where now they don't necessarily have to buy that power. So they
have to buy it either way.
If the yes. I'm not saying they won't.
Yeah.
But if part of the pricing of PG&E buying power from some company that has a market rate and some sort of overhead on transit or their infrastructure thing versus Joe Schmo,
who's already on our grid,
right?
Yeah. I get that. Sure.
I would be curious to know where some of that, like now we're intaking power from 100,000 homes versus needing to buy it from a hydroelectric dam or put in windmills to do this. Now we're leveraging lines and product that are already here, and then you've got, what is the age of the infrastructure? What is the actual maintenance overhead of maintaining all of these things that have been around since 1950, 1960? Like, how often are you rolling over the electrical equipment in West Park to, right? So
yeah.
When is the infrastructure, when have they paid off the mortgage on a suburban infrastructure that's been here since 1990?
Right.
Like, has,
Oh, well, you could say the same about like something like the Bay Bridge or the Golden Gate Bridge.
Sure.
There's a toll on every car that goes across there that's $7 now.
Yeah, is the bridge paid off?
Did we not pay this bridge off already?
Yeah.
Multiple times
Where's
over?
that going?
Yeah. Why? I mean, they have to maintain it also. So there's some of that too.
Yeah. Why? How come the transportation department in California has a surplus, but my fucking roads are shit?
Yeah, and I'm paying the bridge toll every fucking time.
Yeah. What's going on here? Tell me what the haps is.
But no, I totally understand that. I kind of, we talked about this a while ago. Like, it's California, right? So we have people are buying a lot of electric cars here. This is like the number one place in the nation where people buy electric cars.
Yes.
So the question becomes, at what point does the purchase of electric vehicles create on the gas side? We talked about this a few months ago. To create on the gas side a tipping point between supply and demand, where it causes gas prices to fall because the demand is going down because there's so many electric cars on the road.
Right.
This is similar, I think, to household electricity, because it was mandated by code or whatever, by law, that new houses have to have solar panels. right? So at some point, we're building enough houses. We see houses going up here all the fucking time. So at some point, what's the turning point at X number of homes that are on the grid in the area,
right,
where they're feeding back to the grid and they're being paid for that electricity, where the electric company's like, fuck, we didn't know that we were going to be buying these 5,000 homes worth of solar panels, electricity from them.
Right.
And that's now taking away budget from other things. I mean, I totally understand that, but also it sucks for the average homeowner who bought solar, who kind of got in and was like, yeah, this is great. I mean, I'm getting credits back from.
Yeah, that was a huge selling point for the early part. Like, oh, you fucking.
I mean, I would do it just to have my bill be zero every month. I wouldn't need a credit. I don't want them to pay me necessarily, you know?
Yeah.
I would be happy just to have my bill come in and say zero.
Well, you have too, right? So that's gone, right?
I know.
Right?
I know.
The market rate price payback is gone.
Right.
So at what point now are they now paying half or less for your power? You know, now when is the... Well, now
are they even buying power now? I thought they weren't even.
I don't know.
Okay, maybe we.
I'm going to give them a benefit that they're actually paying something.
Oh,
but if let's say worst case scenario, they're no longer paying you at all, but you feed back in. Well, now you've gone completely the other way.
Right.
You should be flush with cash. All of these lines should be buried. All of this infrastructure should be new. Why? Because you're not paying me, but yet I still have solar panels on my roof.
And the rates are going up.
And the rates are going up.
Right.
So,
which is the roundabout.
Right.
We just came full circle.
Now we're back to me and carbide chips in my ass crack while you just pound me like there's no tomorrow.
Well,
like that time I was in prison.
The thing that's frustrating about the PG&E situation is they got themselves into this position by fucking burning down whole communities.
Oh yeah.
By not doing the maintenance they were supposed to do. By leaving shit the way it is and not maintaining the fucking high power distribution lines or whatever the fuck it is, you cause the situation that then you are coming back and saying, fuck you customers, we're raising all of your rates because we fucked up.
Right. We're not flush with cash because we're having to pay out billions in lawsuits.
Dude, it's crazy.
So
that shouldn't even be. I mean, the money's got to come from somewhere, I guess.
I think it comes from like their insurance coverage. But regardless, now what if their insurance? Right. So in a perfect world, my solar should have gone to bolstering infrastructure. And if you're going to cut my payback, and now that should be, okay, I get it. Maybe you were overpaying because of grandfathered law where you didn't have the foresight to realize that now every home is going to have solar panels. I get that. You're going to have to walk back prices. But that means I'm getting something.
But also
But if you're burning down whole parts of the state, and now my walk back of being paid back is to cover your fuck up, well, that's not infrastructure.
Not only are they walking back the payment of home-generated solar power, but they are also increasing rates.
Right.
So they're getting getting both.
Yeah.
They're having the best of both worlds.
Like, hey, you ever been Eiffel Towered? What's that? Or just put this in your mouth, and my friend Billy back here is going to.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting it on both ends, and it's like,
why are you clapping above my head?
I feel like this has become. I'm not anti-American at all, but I feel like this is just the American way to just fuck people.
Abusive capitalism.
Yeah, and it's just crazy to me.
At some point, like the end scenario is a Mike and Angie thing where they're like, okay, well, I will take my money and I will buy a solution that caps me off from your abuse.
Right.
And that money in capitalism goes to Franklin wall batteries, and it goes to whatever solar manufacturer.
Yeah.
And in peak hours, I can run my AC, and I can run my dishwasher, and I can wash my clothes, and I will not pay your peak rates.
Right.
I gave my money, my capitalism money, to a Tesla Powerwall or a Franklin battery wall or whatever the fuck the other, a big giant goddamn Duracell battery. Who knows? and then you take that. How long does it take that version of capitalism to then have PG&E be like, whoa?
The thing
so
of it
rolling
is,
out a new
because of capitalism, they'll figure out some other new way to fuck you. That's how it works.
Be like, we're raising the rates, and the
yeah,
and my dads will be like, fuck,
right, yeah.
I'm gonna put a windmill in the upper
God damn!
pasture.
Now I got to get a job as a greeter at Walmart.
Yeah,
just to pay the electric bill.
Yeah,
it's frustrating. Very frustrating.
I smell food. Do you smell food?
It smells like grilly, barbecue-y smoke.
I wonder if my wife is cooking barbecue. She might be.
Smells
we
good.
had that talk at the table too. The conversation about barbecues.
Yeah.
And because Bert, he had Bert has a Traeger.
We're not making fun of you, Dave, if you're listening.
Yeah, absolutely not, Dave. I mean, he said he hadn't ever listened, so by the time he gets to year
downloading
5, season 6,
I would assume he would try the latest show.
He'll be fucking retired. He'll be like,
maybe he knows. Well,
did I sit next to that guy at Chandler's wedding?
No, I mean,
he's like, a motherfucker's talking shit about me.
I feel like if it's around the wedding, he'll probably listen to that first, so he'll know now.
Yeah,
and maybe Chandler will say, "Oh, they talked about you on the show."
Yeah, they talk about you all the time.
Yeah, you're just somehow they don't even know you, but yet you're a part of the conversation.
Yeah,
every
they said
week.
you look like a herm, like a little dick and a little puss.
Oh,
like a
God.
Anyway,
I'm not going that far.
We were talking about the Blackstone and the Camp Chef.
Yeah.
Dave has a Traeger. I can't remember if he said he was kind of just, but
Traeger
like,
flat grill.
The pellet.
Okay.
And really, the conversation had gotten there because
I partially expect Nat to do all the grilling.
I think it's Dave's barbecue, and he's like, we were talking. It's propane. It's I think it's. He actually said it was a hybrid. You can do both on it.
Okay.
My bitch was that I had stopped grilling stuff because it was too hard for my propane grill of its age to hold temperature or get up to temperature and then stay there. I'm like, so
you're gonna have to replace that thing.
It was I just shit canned it.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I sawzalled that bitch into little pieces and chucked it.
Later.
Fuck yeah.
So are you gonna get a new one?
Propane?
Yeah.
No, I have the Camp Chef.
So the Camp. Oh, that's right. The Camp Chef will do high heat too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll do 475.
You're right.
So I was like, I got so frustrated, and I put it off. And I'm a smoke guy, and I'm like looking at Bert, and I'm like,
I mean, you're the guy that got me into smoking
I'm like,
stuff. So
you're working with a kid who fucking all of the smoke. Anyway,
yeah.
I'm like, I've smoked everything, and so then I'm having these,
including Wang.
Yeah, huge poles. Huge.
So smoky.
I'm like, hey, PG&E, you ever thought about smoking it?
They're all, yeah, when we burn down your fucking neighborhood.
Right. It's on fire. I'm like, I'm the guy, if Chandler's ever mentioned it, I'm like, I'm the guy, I've smoked everything.
Yeah.
I'll put everything in a smoker because I just enjoy it. And so we were talking about moving to pellet grills and how impressed I was after holding off from doing it for so long. Dave talked about his Traeger. We talked about the Blackstone and griddles. And then Dave was just kind of like, he's in a place where he may do it too, but his grill is so big that I think he and Nat are both at a place like, well, we don't ever
cook enough stuff on here.
Cook enough, like it's just too big, or it,
that's
kind of
interesting.
A thing. I'm like, fuck, I love it. I'm like, the whole Wi-Fi thing. I could be out. I'm like, the convenience thing that I didn't know I needed that was just super silly is that, leave for my walk, have Venus turn on the Traeger to do it, or the Camp Chef to do its warm-up, shut the lid, and on my way back, I check in. Okay, it's hit the thing. I go outside and turn it, and then I crank up the temperature to whatever I want, and it's ready when I get here.
Right.
The Blackstone and the griddling, I'm like, I'm back to enjoying cooking outside. And I said, and Venus has asked how to work it, how to turn on. I'm like, it's ridiculously simple. There's nothing prohibitive about anyone learning how to cook on this thing. You press the little toggle wheel in,
set the temperature,
and you're done.
Yeah.
I did say that as a smoker barbecue, it doesn't necessarily put out as much smoke as my smoke dedicated smoker did or does, but I have the tube. So if I want something but then again, my propane barbecue didn't smoke shit either. I had a smoker.
Right.
So this gets me somewhere with a little.
You're sort of in between a grill and a smoker with it.
And if I want more smoke, I use the tube.
Right.
Like I have no problem. Could I? Well, I could. If I cold smoke something in the Camp Chef, I just use the tube way off to the side.
Right.
And it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had that. So that could be my wife grilling because she knows how to work it, and it's not a non-big deal.
Nice.
It's super handy. Although I could probably check the app and then turn it off and just really
be like, what happened?
I do burn
What do you mean
through,
you ruined dinner?
more pellets than I thought I would.
Mm.
But I also, I'll run it at sear for some types of meats. But it cranks through.
I've got the thing is the bummer with having the griddle is that I also have the grill and I also have the smoker.
Yeah.
And they're all just on my patio.
That's a lot of things.
It takes up a bunch of room.
Yeah.
The nice bit is that the griddle, the Loco cooker, the sides fold down.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take up a bunch of room, but it still crowds the patio a little bit.
The space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love cooking on that thing, and I think I've only used the grill maybe once since I got the griddle.
Yeah.
And the smoker has sort of become, for the most part, a special occasion, 4th of July ribs or brisket at Thanksgiving or something like that. So, although I would use it more often, I just find that I just never have time to...
The grill?
The smoker.
Oh, smoker.
Yeah. I love using the smoker, but having time to be home all day and just have the smoker and being able to check, because mine doesn't have automatic feed or anything like that, so I got to add chips to it as it goes.
Plus, it's been hot as balls this summer.
And
you've been busy. The wedding stuff has probably tied up a lot of your weekends anyway, where you would be like, I have free time to smoke a pole.
Haven't had time to do shit recently. So even this weekend we had stuff going on. Oh, the kids came back from their honeymoon on Sunday.
Yes.
And the other part of this was that Melanie flew to Seattle on Friday to go see Mr. Worldwide with her old roommate.
Oh, Pitbull?
Yeah. Yes. So she went to Seattle to see Pitbull on Saturday.
Yeah.
And her flight came in at 10:30. And Chandler and Nicole's flight was also supposed to come in right around 10:30. So they would have been flying in at the same exact time, basically. So it would have been one trip to the airport to pick all three of them up from two different places, which is crazy.
I saw Shan's post about that, and I read it wrong. Venus caught that it was both kids.
Yeah.
But I think I read it as Chandler and Nicole and then their luggage. But,
well, there was that too. So
so I read the which one will get home first, and I'm like, I think she's talking about the luggage is separate from Nicole, but now it's apparent that Melly was out and about.
Well, there was that. They were both supposed to come in at roughly the same time, right around 10:30. When Melly's flight was on time, no problem. When Chandler and Nicole were in leaving from Orlando, they had some crazy weather rain situation that caused them to delay flights.
Mm-hmm.
Their flight from there was supposed to go into Dallas and then to Sacramento. So they were like, oh, we're delaying this flight. Well, at that point, the Dallas flight hadn't been delayed.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, we need to get you on a flight that's going to get you home on time.
Right.
Right. And what ended up happening was the bag stayed on the regular Dallas flight while they moved over to a flight that went through Arizona.
Okay.
So their physical bodies went to a flight that went through Arizona. Their bags stayed on this plane. And then it was a question of who knows when those are going to come.
Right.
As it turns out, they could have flown on that flight with their bags through Dallas because the flight in Dallas ended up getting delayed by about an hour.
Oh.
So then by the time all was said and done, they went to Arizona, their bags went to Dallas, and they pretty much were within like 10, 15 minutes of each other landing.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Their bags and them. So they came in first and then their bags right after.
Wow.
And then we waited at the carousel from their original flight that they would have been on with their bags and got their bags.
And then where was Melly relative to
Melly
that?
was with us because she had already come in at 10:30.
Oh.
They were delayed, so we finally got their bags around 12:20.
Oh, okay.
So it was about an hour and a half.
Oh.
So it was a little interesting night at the airport.
Hey,
we just got to hang around the airport, which like nobody does that at midnight. But it was fucking packed.
Like a Cinnabons.
I could not, no, because you're not. That's on the secure side.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but all that stuff's closed at night, anyways.
Oh, well, also double shit.
Yeah. So we ended up just hanging out, talking, and Melly just wanted to go home, and we're like, well, sorry. We're waiting for
you could start walking.
I am not leaving this airport without Chandler and Nicole, so I'm not driving you home and coming back and getting them. This is what it is.
Right.
But yeah, that was interesting. So it was an interesting little jaunt to the airport on Sunday. So we didn't get home until a little after 1. So that made Monday nice and draggy. Yeah, people were
low speed.
A little bit cranky that night. Coming home.
No Cinnabon make you cranky.
Yeah. So
we're at time.
All right.
Fucking hashtag get fucked, PG&E.
Seriously.
Ulanzi
See, those are the kinds of things that just fuck us.
Yeah.
So
anyway, you should return the cart.
Wash your ass.
Wash your hands.
Check your oil, Tony. Have you done that lately?
Yeah. Huh?
Do you even know what it is?
On your shots? Yeah.
Do you know what oil is, Tony?
It's lubricated.
Make the call if you need to.
Register to vote.
Do the kindness.
Pick up a broom. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.